Dave here. How are you? Today is the 13th of October 2019, and you'll notice I'm back down in my workshop. I didn't lump any of the gear down here, so I have son-in-laws who can do that stuff for me, which is great. Vicky's crook still. I'm still a bit crook with this kind of chest thing, but we'll get over it. We'll get over it. I'm hoping the stream is coming through well. It looks like everything's running properly down here. Sound looks as though it's going out well. If I can have someone just say, yeah, everything's fine, that'd be great. You may hear in the background I have the lathe running. Now we're going to go straight to the lathe in a second, but I'm going to run through what's in the show today. Let me have a look down here. I'll click that, so we're running live. Sound and vision is good. Michael Christopher's morning hoping. All hope your pain is slightly and you're recovering well. Yes, it is. It is. Thank you very much for that. Joe Barrow, I've just finished using my Stanton bench. Had to cut the new piece of roof for one of my wife's birdhouses. Work great as usual. Great. Excellent. All right. It's only about a month to go before I go onto the NBN. I've had mixed results, like mixed reports, but we're getting fibre to the curb, and the most it has to come into this property is 200 metres on copper. So fingers crossed it's going to be good. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, on today's show, how to polish a plane knob. Now, this is the knob from my Turner hand plane, or one of them. I've got a bug. Ian Kerry has infected me with this Turner hand plane bug. Now, it might look great to you right now, but I'll tell you what, when I finish polishing it on the lathe, it's going to look almost as nice as this. It's the same stuff. You wouldn't believe that that and that are the same. I'll show you how I'm going to do it. I've been mucking around, playing around with different ideas, and I think we're going to have some fun. Viewers, projects and wood shops. I've got a couple of things there that people have sent in for me, and that's great. Also, we've got the winner of the flex cut double-sided paddle, and that was Australia and New Zealand. So hang around. Normally towards the end of the show I'll let everyone know who won it. All right, so we're going to go straight over. I'm hoping everyone had a great week. We're going to go straight over to the other camera, and there it is. All right, now whilst this is happening, you may not, hi Dave, hope you're mending well. All good, beautiful. You may not see me too much, which isn't going to be a big problem for you. So here I am. I've got the lathe spinning. I'm going to turn it off. I've set the lathe up to its slowest speed possible. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing this today is because this is very lightweight for me. I don't have to do any lifting. The lathe was here. Actually, it was on the other side of the bench there, and Vicky popped it over here for me. Moving the tailstock is not going to be a big issue. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a spacer. Now, I'll open this up and I'll show you what I mean. These are the soft jaws that I've got for it. I cut this piece of dowel. Well, actually, I made this piece of dowel using the Veritas dowel jig. Works brilliantly. Anyway, I'm going to drill a hole through that, and I'll grab this as well while I'm doing this, so we can I can show you all of my little ingenious plans. I'm going to put this into the chuck, not in the soft jaws, and I'm not going to put the tailstock's rotating end piece in there to go down the center, because then I won't be able to get to all of this part. So my idea is to use this. I'll explain it a little bit more as I'm going along, but the first thing I need to do is drill a hole that's going to be the diameter to allow the threaded section of the metal thread, whatever you call it. This is actually off the tote. The one for the knob is much shorter. It comes out there. So I've grabbed the one off the tote, and I've taken the washer out that lives in there, which allows that to go slightly under It's pretty clever, isn't it? Even if I do say so myself, which will allow me to polish all of this so I don't get a lip up at the end if that brass section was sitting proud. So this is how that's my idea. So when you crook like I am at the moment, or on the mend, you get time to just be silly about all of this stuff and keep on. You overthink it. I'm sure I overthink things. I'm going to close that up. The only thing that I found with this chuck, this is a Technitool chuck, is tightening it up is left-hand thread. Loosening it is left-hand thread. You've got to loosen it by turning it, which would ordinarily be tightening it. It's fun, isn't it? Okay, now I've got that there. I'm going to advance the tailstock while it's nice and loose down to the middle there. Now, I started off with a 5mm brad point drill bit to get the center, and whilst that was good, it didn't quite allow the threaded section on this to go through. So I've put a 5.5mm standard engineering drill, you know, like for cutting metal. Not really a wood drill. Now, whilst I've got that there, I can advance this. There's a little crank on the end of the lathe there, and I can twist that, and it will advance the drill through this. And that's what we're going to do at the moment. All right, I'm going to turn her on, and first of all, I'm going to put my headset on. My lathe is running as slow as it can. Okay, I'm going to wear this because I have got things spinning here, and if anything comes off, I'm going to be protected. And also, the other thing about this is that I don't have any dust extraction set up around this at the moment. When I start polishing the knob, there's going to be a fair bit of dust. You might see a little bit around here. And I'm not capable of setting up a dust system at the moment in front of this, even though it's right there beside me. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to close this up. Now, I will sound slightly different whilst this is going. Hands away from everything, of course. I'll turn that to about there. We're going to turn her on and slowly turn this so that the drill is going in. The drill's not spinning. Ordinarily, if it was a drill in a drill press or in a hand drill, the drill will be spinning, but this way the lathe is spinning, the drill stationary, and I advance it by turning the little crank at the end. I'm just going to go all the way in. That's all the way through it. Turn her off. Turn the headset off. Pop it over there on the bandsaw for the moment. So I'm hoping everyone else's week has gone well, and life is good. I'll move that out of the way. Undo the jaws, and it's the other way, isn't it? Yeah, I keep on getting lost. So now I have this little guy that's got a hole perfectly in the center, right the way through that little piece of dowel, and that will allow me to slide that onto there, and it will let me do my sanding around the edge here and the polishing so that I can get all the way to the bottom and all the way to the top. I should be able to work on all of this and keep my fingers away from the actual chuck. Now the next thing, this is the fun part. I'll grab this Allen key and undo the soft jaws. This is going to take a little bit of time to undo these, but that's okay. I'm not big on lathes, as you can see. Whoop, dropping things all over the place. They're all going to drop into there. Go to the next one. Now I'm going to use the jaw mounts, which actually go all the way in really tight to hold on to that metal thread. As I say, I'm not allowed to have a bath at the moment. Got to wait. Can have a shower. I guess not having a bath is kind of self-imposed. The surgeon didn't say anything about it. It's just that I want to give myself as good a chance as possible of repairing without submersing myself totally. That one off. I'm not coughing anywhere near as much. I'll tell you what. If you need to have a hernia operation, here's a tip. Make sure that you stay away from anyone that has a cold or a chest infection of any sort. I'll tell you now, it's no fun. Nearly done. Now, I'm not able to read what's on the chat, but by all means, you guys keep on chatting with each other. Now, I'm a novice lathe person. I've only ever had this kind of lathe. Sorry, I had a record lathe, and this is a, pardon me, MC1018, which means it's a 10-inch swing over bed and 18 inches between centers, which means it's 5 inches from the center to the bed. And as I say, between centers, not when it's got the chuck on. The chuck makes it shorter between centers. You can get an extension bed for this to make it longer. It's a great little lathe. I don't do anything that's, massive. But there we go. Now, this is the next little trick that I've got. I'll get the screwdriver and I'll do a quick read while I'm over here. Only wood. Okay, I'm doing a quick read there. Why is that happening, David? Give me a second. I'll switch cameras while I show you what I'm doing here. That one to there and over to here. Hello again. All right, this is the threaded rod that has the brass nut on the end that goes through the tote or the handle at the back of the plane. I'll grab this and I'll show you. This is my Stanley number 5 that I've just finished cleaning up. It's come up well, hasn't it? Now I did this the way I'm going to show you. This was a mess. Even the black plastic polishes up beautifully. So it's this handle here. See this brass nut in there? That's where I'm going to do this. Now, if I loosen this off a little bit, when I find my pliers, give me a sec. They'll be here somewhere. Maybe they won't. Oh, I can hold it in the chuck in the lathe and that'll do it. So, got to get comfortable. All right. I'm going to undo this a little, put it through the knob, slide this onto the end, put this in the chuck, and then I'm going to tighten that up with a screwdriver to pull the tension on it. So hopefully it pulls it really straight and gives it the grab that it needs to be able to spin perfectly for me. Okay, glad your recovery will be in time for the camera show. Glad I did cancel. Energy lower, and yes, coughing also hurts with a large kidney. Watching Bathurst and me at the same time, are you, Alan? Okay, well, I've got a little clip that I'm going to show you a little bit later for people that don't understand what Bathurst is all about. I'll do that right now. Give me a sec. I'll throw that on. Let's see if I've got it. This was yesterday. This is the Toyota 86. See the guy going down the outside? This is pretty amazing. Now that's kind of slow-mo. You see the guy's running in the background. He's running for a fire extinguisher. That's kind of slow-mo. Now the next part is really slow-mo. Look at this. This kid is 19 years old, or 18 or 19, and he walked away from this accident with a sore finger. You watch this. This is courtesy of Fox and Channel 10. Now, if you want to watch the race today, it's already started. It started about, 15 minutes ago. It's 161 laps. This was a 41 lap race. Sorry, no. This was a shorter race, much shorter. Look at that. And this is testament also for the roll cages that the guys make. This is much safer than when, say, Dickie Johnson and Brocky were all racing. Look at that. That is just unbelievable. And he's still going. He's in the sand trap. It's getting caught. Slowing down. Slowing down. Hasn't stopped yet. Look at that. There's no dual exhaust down there. That's the funny thing with cars these days. One exhaust pipe all the way down the middle, and just to make it look sexy, they put out two tailpipes right at the end. Ah. Still going. Anyway, it comes to rest on its roof, and they get the guy out, and he sits there for about a minute, hops up, walks over to the ambulance. They take him off to hospital, do a quick check, and he ends up with a sore finger. That's just amazing. All right, I'm going to put the camera on the other one now. We'll go back to there. I don't know how many people are watching. It will buff out. Yes, it will. Look, there's tiny little marks in here. I don't know if you can see them, but just there is a mark. And overall, it's dull. And the other thing is, when they put the mold on, I think these are injection molded, there's a seam right the way around. It's a seam line where the two halves of the mold pull together. We're going to get rid of that. I'm going to sand this with 80 grit sandpaper, and you'll be amazed how long it takes. Here we go. I'm going to switch the cameras again. We'll go over to this one. And I may even try and get it in closer. Let's see what we can do. How's that? Does that look a bit better? I'll spin it around just a little bit more that way. 53 watching. Everyone else is watching Bathurst. I'm sorry, but I was thinking about streaming it, but I can't really because there's a lot of mucking around. All right, so here's my plan. I'm going to pop that in there. Now I'm going to bring these guys in as close as I can because I don't have any other jaws, and it will grab it. When I've got it, I should be now be able to loosen this ever so slightly. Yes. And that's, see that now? It's come out there. Now I can relax this again and push that in a little bit more and tighten him up again. I'm going to turn it on, see if it spins true. Not really. It's a little high there, so I'm going to push that up to there. Now I'm going to tighten it. So I can tighten this. How's that looking? Turn her on. It's not bad. I'll still be able to do it. And it's coming down. I need to get that to drop down a little this way. I can see it. I can see it ever so slightly. Turn her on now. That's running a whole lot better. It's not perfect, but it's a whole lot better. Now I'm going to be able to use paper all the way down and around and under there. See that? I can do this because the chuck is spinning this way away from me. If I put my finger there, I'd be in trouble. But on the bottom side, it's not going to be an issue. That's lovely. All right, some sandpaper. And let's see how we go. I've got some paper up here. I don't know what grit they are. That's 80. And that one is 120. And that one's 240. And that one is 400. They're going to get me out of strife to start. Now, you might think this is sacrilege when I start doing this because it's going to look horrible. You'll say, why didn't you just leave it alone? Well, I'm like that. Here we go. Any chats? Great show. Hope you get better soon. Jim from Scotland. What do you reckon, Richard, Felsen? I think this is great fun. They rarely spin true. Is that right, Cherry? Quick coffee. Now I'm going to put the helmet on and turn it on. What I've got on running the thing is one of John Lathe's lithium-ion batteries in this thing, and it runs for 15 hours. Can you believe it? Right, here we go. This is 80 grit paper. So it's got 80 written there, and it's color coded. I'm going to go all over that, and you're going to be so upset. Look at that. I'm going to get rid of all of the imperfections. You see this dust coming off? I don't want to breathe that. That's why I'm wearing this mask. And this is cellulose acetate. Go all the way around the side there. I can still feel the seam. That's one of the things I want to get rid of. Okay, there's a little scratch there still, and another one there. There's a little one here. It's pretty good up the top. So I've got to work a little, and there. So I've got to work this area here. These are the proud areas that obviously would have copped the treatment from there to there. I've still got a bit more work to do. I can't work just one spot on its own because I'll get a flat. So I need to keep moving the paper around. Let's have a look at that. That's getting a whole lot better. There's a little scratch there, but I don't think we're going to notice that. And that one on the inside has gone. Lovely. Now I'm going to drop down to 120 grit paper. Again, color coded. This is great stuff. I don't need it this big. It tears perfectly. 120. Here we go. Already you can see it's looking better. It's getting rid of that. It's crucial that we get rid of those sanding lines from the 80 grit. Come around the back there. I'm going to do it until I can see the paper, the cut from this grade paper running. At the moment I can still see marks from the previous grit. There we go, they're starting to disappear. There's a line there that I want to get rid of. Gone. Okay, that's 120. Next we'll go to 240 grit. This is where we'll probably see a fair bit of change. I'm going to do a quick read. Looking good. Okay, John, I was thinking about doing it. I've actually got one here. And I was going to have a look at doing it. Anyway, let's start with the 240. I'd normally go to 180, but I'm going to go 240. Look at that. Look at that. That's looking really nice. When I say really nice, in comparison to what it was looking like. Get down to the end there. Now, the reason I'm doing this and why I wanted to work out how to do this really quickly and easily is because I'm going to try and get a full set of these Turner hand planes because they're just beautiful things. And when Ian Carey was on the show, he was talking about being the custodians. Now, I agree with him wholeheartedly. I reckon this is a great idea. My father-in-law tells me that he has so many collections of things. And I've said to him, all right, well, what do you classify as a collection? He says, well, 2 or more. Oh dear. I would have seen a collection as, something like Ian has. Now, Ian confessed to me the other day also that he, even though he's got a lot of hand planes, there's another guy in the Blue Mountains who used to own Warranoo Kitchens, Joe Bogart. And apparently he has 2,000 hand planes. Can you believe it? Let's see how that's going. I'm trying to work that scratch out. There's a few scratches there that I really do need to pull out with this paper. And they're not going to come out with the 400. So I've got to work that a bit harder. But that's looking really good. There's a little scratch there. I'm going to keep working this with the 240. Imagine having 2,000 hand planes. I'm just going to push a little harder. That's starting to get even. This piece of dowel down the end here was totally to space me away from the chuck so I didn't get too close to that. Starting to disappear. It does melt onto the paper a little bit. Try it up the top here. Where would you keep 2,000 hand planes? I just don't know. You'd want a want a storage locker of some sort. I reckon we might be right there with, yep, I think we're going to be right with that. We'll go down to 400. And then we're going to start on something called micro mesh. You can see why I've got, see all this stuff here? You can see why I've got the helmet on. Well, I can start to see the ruby colour starting to come up now. Can you see that? How good is that? And that ruby colour is just going to increase and increase and increase as I work my way down through the grits. Oh, this is so rewarding. It might seem really lame, but I'll tell you what. I can't really do much more at the moment in my condition, but I love watching things reveal themselves. Absolutely love it. How's that looking? There's a couple of scratches in there still, but they're disappearing. There's a bit of a scratch here. That's all looking pretty good down here, so I'm going to work this area here a bit more. All right, I'm going to go from 400, which I'm on at the moment. I think that's getting there. Tiny, tiny bit. They'll disappear. I'll come back over to the main camera again in a second. Where are we? See, this thing is fantastic. Keeps me safe. All right, hair doesn't look great after it. We've got this in here. There we go, fixed. All right, a soft at 80 degrees Celsius. Okay, why aren't you watching the start of Bathurst? Well, you know, I've watched Bathurst many times. I was actually a marshal at the motorcycle races when they had the bike races up there at Bathurst. When you start wet sanding, use a drip tray on the lathe to stop the rust. I use a plastic tray. Good idea, not lame at all. I need to develop your patience. It is very tempting just to jump straight to the polish, because the polish will bring it up looking magic, but you'll still have all the dents. That's all this work is, getting rid of all of the little dents and chips and everything. Man, it's so much fun. I don't know. I'm going to go back to it. Now, Michael was just saying, wet sand that baby. I'm going to. When I come to the micro meshes, I'm going to use micro mesh wet. Here we go. And push that back in. There we go. It's a sexy look, isn't it? All right, back to the other camera. There we go. Now the next grit that I'm going to is the 1000 platen. This is still dry, and then we're going to do the 1500 micro mesh wet. Let's see how we go. There's a little chip there still. I don't think they're going to worry me too much. Yeah, that one there, I'm not overly concerned. It's going to disappear. Now, I'm going to start sanding wet, so I don't need to have the mask on. That's looking so nice. And all of the joins, the seam has disappeared totally. I can see it a little bit, but I can't feel it anywhere. Now, for those that haven't used micromesh, and I'm not a world authority on it, there's the chart, and it's color coded. So I'm going to start, I've done 1000 with the plate, and I'm going to go to 1500, and I'm going to work down to around 4000. Then I'm going to jump onto the polishes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I've got them color coded, and I've got a little bit of water here. So the first one, now micromesh is this stuff. Okay. And Michael did make comment that it's best to have something over the bed. I don't at the moment, but you watch as we go through each grit, especially when it's wet, it's going to really start to show it. And then we hit the polish, it's going to be even more. This is 1500 grit. And you can see when it dries, you can see the film of stuff that's been sanded. I'm going to turn her around a little. It's just very important to do your groundwork first. If you don't, you're going to end up with a highly polished knob that's got dents all over the place. What do you think of my little idea with this? And also using the chuck in this way? Well, I think we're just about done on the 1500. Yes, I have residue marks. And residue marks. I've got a little bit of a sanding mark there. I need to work a bit more on that. And they'll come out as I was saying. So I'm going to work this area here. A bit more water. The top is the most important part because that's what you're going to be looking at. I've had people say, oh, almost too good to use, Dave. I understand that. But my response was, how nice is it? They were talking about the screwdriver that I tidied up this way. My response was, when I open up the drawer to get that screwdriver out now, I just get this silly smile on my face. And yeah, look, I've got the time now to do it. How nice is that? That is so good. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, we're going to go to the next one down, which is 1800, which is the green micromesh. Here it is. That's 1800 grit. And you've got a little pad in between, surface on both sides. And you'll be amazed, as I go down through the grits, how much cleaner it looks from the previous one. Now, even now you'll be saying, Dave, it's not going to get much better than that. But it does. And it's just, I don't know, maybe it's the same as an archaeologist when they find a fossil or something like that. And it's just a buzz for the discovery. That's basically what I'm doing, is I'm discovering how this is looking underneath. Do a bit more, 1800. You remember what it looked like at the beginning. If you forget, you can always rewind and go back to the beginning of the show and see what this knob looked like before, and then also once I did it with the 80 grit paper. Because I learned how to do some polishing down at Festal in Melbourne. We've got the Festal training camp basically down there. They send me to once a year or so. And next one I'm going to is 2400. Look at this. It's going to look even better. And they had some acrylic or it's just some clear perspex. And they sanded it, and I thought, oh my God, yeah, what's happened there? It was horrible. And then they polished it down through the grits, sanded and polished, and then lo and behold, it was like you see straight through it. It was though the surface, you couldn't even see the surface anymore. It just saw straight through. It was like the perspex wasn't even there. And that's when I started falling in love with these kind of finer grits, because you've got to remember, my history was 120 grit. Was all we sanded to, ready for paintwork. Because you can't sand too much before paintwork, otherwise it's not going to bond. Okay, so that's the great. Next one is 3200. And look at that. Here we go, 3200. Now these things are actually called scratch pads. That's what they call themselves. So it gets down to 12,000, which is the pink one. And they say at 12,000, the human eye can't detect it's still got scratches all over it, but you can't see it. Reminds me of when Apple brought out their iPhone with Retina display, because they reckoned, okay, well that's as fine as the human eye can see. I tend to doubt statements like that. But maybe that's just me. Let's have a bit of a look with it turned off and a bit of paper on there. It's starting to look all right, isn't it? Let's say those couple of little scratches there, I'm going to put up with those, but all the seam has totally gone. Absolutely beautiful. Loving it. There's a little scratch there too, but that's okay. That's going to be okay. All right, next one is 3600. Here we go. So people who make pens, and I'm sure that Michael Christopher's, or Michael Christopher, I keep on saying Christopher's, it's not Christopher's. Michael made me a beautiful acrylic pen. And he would know this stuff backwards. And I think some people finish off with shellac wax. Where, as I say, I'm going to use the Festool 5000 cut and polish, and then I'm going to go to the 8000 polish. So I'll be doing that very soon. So that one now, we're up to, oh, beautiful. That's 36. The next one is 4000. And then we're going to go to the Festool compounds. Here we go. This one is 4000. I reckon it's worthwhile to set up nicely before you start something. This is going to bore the stuffing out of a lot of people, and no, well, unlucky. If it's boring, you don't have to watch, you can turn off. But I get hypnotized by this kind of stuff. I watch and I watch and I watch because I want to wait for the money shot. There we go. That is as far as I'm going to take it with just a little bit of paper now. That's as far as I'm going to take it with the micro mesh. Again, a lot of people say, well, that's far enough, Dave. little mark there. I should have really taken that off with the sandpaper, with the 80 grit, but it didn't happen. It's too deep at this stage, and I'm not going to use any tools like to cut it off. I'm happy enough with that. All right, here we go. We're going to jump into the polish. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over this side, and we're going to go to here, quarter two. Oh, I've used the micro mesh pads for polishing pans I've turned. They work, but don't skip any grits or you'll just make work for yourself. Exactly right. Thank you, Bob. Yes, each step is important, Michael. I go all the way through the micro mesh and then use the plastic polish for cast soft top glass polish. Right. Is there a chart to match micro mesh grit to normal grit numbers? Well, look, here I'm getting around a bit. Oh, I'm a Sulu. I'm still not good wearing jeans because they tend to pull on the area where the scar is. That there is your chart. So it shows you all the way down from 1500 down to 12,000. This is in the little pack of micromesh. Micromesh isn't expensive either. It's one of those things. If you've got a little lathe, grab a pack. Okay, where are we? We're going to have a look at some things. Now, last week, I announced that Paul Mumford won the eye muffs, and there he is. He uses them out in the garden with his whippersnipper, which is a great idea. Now let me see, what else have we got? Now Paul has also sent me up some pictures of his shed and how it arrived, and I'm going to read through this. Okay, you ready? Everyone sitting comfortably. Paul says, my shed was installed in 2016. I say installed because it came prefabricated. It arrived on the back of a small truck at 7 a.m. and was completed, let me go to the next picture, by 1 p.m. the same afternoon. That's how it was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. No, that's exactly right, Brian. I'm not going to overdo it. Then, let me see. The shed is 4 meters by 6 meters externally, but only 2.8 meters inside by 6 meters. Due to the veranda. Since then I've painted the exterior, which is there, and we'll be adding veranda brackets so that will be in sympathy with the main house. That's little angel wings up beside the posts up to the fascia beam there. 6 meters of power cable was laid from the house for power, half of which was buried underground. Or 60 meters, not 60 meters, that's a long run. The interior walls have been insulated. Here we go. The roof came insulated, and both walls and ceiling have been lined with ply. 19mm ply was used on the walls for strength to allow for the attachment of cupboards, shelves, etc. Let me see if I've got another picture here. I do indeed. I've installed vents at both gable ends to allow for through ventilation and made vents for the interior that can open and close so the heat can be contained in winter and cross breeze obtained in summer. For lighting, apart from the basic lighting down the centre, I've installed LED strips to eliminate shadow when working, with each strip individually switchable. I've added features like lattice and steps to the veranda and a USB charging station on the inside. Now I'd like to show you that picture of the USB charging station. But, Paul sent some very small photos as well as normal size photos, and they just pixelated like crazy when I put them in their system. So I had to leave them out. That's a tip for if you're wanting to send photos in to me. Please make sure that they're good resolution. Windows and doors have been framed, and as of last weekend, the ceiling has been painted white to reflect light down. The roof beams have been highlighted for effect. I reckon that looks pretty sexy. The next step will be to polish the walls and floor to be ready for me to start making things, the first being a workbench. It has taken some time to get to this stage, as most of the work was done on weekends when I could do it. I'm often visited by some of the locals while I'm working there. This bloke, well, he said bloke, but it's actually a girl, Paul, This bloke being one of them. The bold king parrot actually flew down onto the veranda to inspect the tools I'd laid out there. If you've got a story like that, send them in to me. That's great. I love to be able to share this stuff with everyone. I have another story that I'm going to show in a minute, but we're going to jump on to doing a little bit more. Yes, Lostwitz, Paul made those louvers himself. How cool is that? Here's a mess. That's worse. How can it get worse? I need a haircut. All right, let's go back to over here to the polish. And I'm going to get out the 5,000 and the 8,000. Oh, there we go. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. There we go. I'll pretend to do it again. Give me a second. Whoop, there we go. I'm going to do it again with the 8,000 because you guys, it's the 5,000 because you missed it. I'm an idiot. Here we go. This is the 5,000 pad, and I've got the 5,000 speed cut on it and working it. I did that on purpose just to make sure that there were still people there. I didn't realize. Sorry about that. Vicky will have been in the chair beside me saying, "You haven't changed the cameras yet." Well, there's not much I can do after the event, is there? I might. What I can do is I can download the video and then save it out and pop it back up as another video. What do you reckon? Look at that. It's lucky that I went over and had a quick look. Okay, so that's 5,000. And remember what it looked like when I was back at 80 grit. All right, now we need to do the 8,000. Yeah, I know. It's just amazing. Well, you think the I'm over here reading some of the stuff. You reckon that looks nice. I mean, now I'm going to jump into the 8,000. I've got the 8,000 pad here and the 8,000 polish. This stuff here. I think they only sell 9,000 now. It's one of those things. I put some Amazon links a while back when I did the headlight things, and I noticed a couple of people bought some stuff, which is great. The thing is, you keep this stuff and you keep using it. And I can put this onto my Rotex or on the ETS 6 or ETS 5, I should say, and away I go. Now this is where it really starts to pop. Now they say toothpaste is 10,000, equivalent to 10,000 grit. So I could do this with toothpaste after if I wanted to. And I was also told that toothpaste is crushed glass. Now I don't know if that's true. You guys let me know. I'm pushing the pressure into there. I reckon that might be enough. I get obsessive. I know I do. Nearly there. Just getting the last little bit off. There. What do you reckon? Little mark there, but I'll wash that off in a minute. I'll get the screwdriver. It's not quite the same colour, but geez, I'll tell you what, it looks better than when I started. There we go. And undo the chuck. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? We can come out. I can take that off, and I can take that out of there. I can give this a little bit of a clean here. What do you think? And then I'm going to bring it over to here. The paper may scratch at this stage. I'm going to transition before anyone rouses on me. There we go. How nice. I'm turning it, and it's just glorious. Red Nose Day. What was I going to show you? There's something else here. I don't know if, there they are. So here is the brass pin that goes in. And that's how the knob on the plane is going to look. But there will be the washer in there as well, which will hold it up just perfect with the surface. Okay, Bob, I used to get a polish called semichrome. It was a paste that looked a lot like toothpaste. Used the polish out of my Harley, did a beautiful job. Don't know if they still make it. I used to use Goddard's Glow on my Ducati on the aluminium rims, alloy rims. I think getting a restored full plane out to use would give me a huge smile too. Yeah, Alan, Lapidus go up to 200,000. Looks like a ruby. Beautiful, Dave. Thanks. Nice warm colour, isn't it? Just, I keep smiling every time I look at it. Hold on. Will it focus or not? I keep trying to do this. I should learn that it's not a good idea. No, I'll come back to here. That's fine. All right, what else have we got? The winner. The winner, the winner, the winner. I went to New Zealand. And if your name is Herbert, Herbert entered around about 6 times. He was really, really, really wanting to get this. It's the Flex Cut double-sided paddle for sharpening plane blades and chisel blades, and with the gold polish, or rouge they call it. Almost too nice to use. Well, Wayne, as I said also in the response, when you reach for a hand tool that looks as nice as this one, I did this one as well, and they come up magic. When it looks as nice as this and you reach for it, I think it sets a standard for the job you're going to do as well. You know, if you reach for something and it's filthy, and you know, I know there's people out there that just, the tool is a tool, that's all there is to it. And they use it to create their craft. I'm a little bit, I used to be like that when I was building. I never really cared too much things lived in the back of the ute. They got wet, all that stuff. But now I'm of the opinion that if it looks quality, when you pick it up, it just picks your standard up a little bit more as well, and away you go. So there we go. Herbert, I will be sending you an email. Now also I've got something here from Les Sketcher. Now Les has rebuilt a box, and I've created a slideshow. Now it may or may not go according to what I've written here. So Les has sent me some information. He says, hi Dave, I've now just finished my refurbish on the 125-year-old Australian red cedar chest. The chest belonged to my wife's grandmother, a daughter of an ARC logger Johan Anders, subject of a previous episode with me. You may remember around about 6 months ago, I think it was, Les sent some stuff in to me, and he and his wife went on a little bit of a genealogy expedition to find out some things about Johan Anders, and it was a really interesting show. So here's some pics from Go to Woe. We well understand why the wood was in high demand all those years ago. I'm going to try to get this. I'm going to let it run in the background over here until it comes back to the first slide. This is what's called, it's on what's called a loop. So it's going to go through its photos there at the moment. It will come up to being the really dirty one. As soon as it does, I'm going to flip it over. And it's only a couple of pictures to go. I can understand why this wood was in high demand a century ago. It's a pity we have so little of it left now. I agree. One item of the chest is incomplete, i.e. the lock latch plate, key and escutcheon that we're missing. Here we go. So this is the beginning. This is the chest when you got a hold of it. And it looked a mess. If you saw this at a garage sale, you'd probably walk away. And he started off with this little block plane, cleaning it back, lost wits. And no, I did not have spotless tools when I was building. No, it was just too fast and busy. These are all hand-cut dovetails, of course. This is very similar to Arthur's toolbox. I think it was possibly a standard style back then. And how nice is it looking now? Look at that. This is before he put a finish on it. So back to the chest. He says the lock is a steel Corbin half mortise lock. This takes a double bit key and the appropriate escutcheon, I should say. So if any of your viewers know of a source, I would be interested. If you know where Les can get a hold of this strike plate and also the Corbin half mortise lock, please send or put a post in under the this stream when it's finished, and that would help Les out. Give me a second, got a cough. That's not fun. Okay, Stephen, it's a pity Oz cedar can't be grown commercially due to the moths. I did not know that. There you go. John Parra, thanks for the demonstration. Never seen it done before. Well, there you go. It's all. It's another world, isn't it? I enjoy doing a little bit of discovery and then bringing it to the show or doing a video on it. And I think I will do a video on a full restoration. I've got a Turner number 4 coming, and I will do a video on that. We're still tracking through this slideshow on Les Sketch's chest, Australian red cedar chest, and it's just beautiful. There we go. So there you go. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the show today, and you can have another little look at this. How nice is that? It doesn't take long. And it's the same as sharpening up. On a wet day when I was building, I'd sharpen chisels and sharpen plane blades. You know, I could do this kind of stuff if I had nothing better to do rather than sit around and watch the telly. And as a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to go do now. I'm going to watch the rest of the Bathurst race. I'm hoping you enjoyed everything that we had here. I've also got something from Philip Moore that I'll show you next weekend. It's just some photos of when he was building a bass guitar, and I need some more images from you guys. Send them in, and I'll try and think of something lame to do next weekend. As I say, I can't get in there and work what I used to say, work my ring out. You know, it's just, I can't at the moment. But little things like this little project, they're good fun. And so I've even got Zoe's workshop sign up here as well. And thank you very much again to Matt, my son-in-law, for bringing everything down into the workshop for me so I could do this demo. Look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and I shall see you all next week. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give me a like if you like what's happening here. See you later.